This week, we're reconvening the Debriefs Facebook 4, where we invite 4 of our friends from our fans page to come on and sound off about some of the issues in the news. Regular Joe and James. So here they are. In the back, Steve Sacco. He's from New Jersey. He's a substitute teacher in Newark and also a Republican district leader, which he says is largely a volunteer position. Amy DeRosa also lives in New Jersey. And Amy was born in the city, however, raised on Long Island. She's married. She lives in Hoboken, works as both a writer and a part-time ski instructor. Luis COLLAZO, who grew up in the Bronx, moved to L.A. for a while, came to his senses, and he come back. Oh, no, I'm sorry. All right, okay. And you had worked in advertising sales. You're a bit of a news junkie. We love that. And Kyra Pohl is from White Plains. She's a marketing associate for NBC Local Media and a graduate of Cornell University, working on her master's degree at NYU. She's here representing only Kyra, not NBC Local Media. All right, thanks a lot. I guess I'll start with snow. It's been so much in the news. This weekend kicked off with a little bit of a storm, but we're still talking about the blizzard. You're all from different parts of the tri-state. But, Luis, you were in the Bronx. Obviously, the city has been taken on the chin. What is your reaction now as we've had time to look back?
Well, I mean, in the Bronx, I think everything was pretty good. I live near Fordham and Grand Concourse, so everything was nice and clean. So I was kind of surprised to hear the stories.
Wow.
I was surprised to see that so many people try to drive and then abandon their cars.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of not the smartest thing to do during a snowstorm. You know, about the sanitation and the slowdown, if that in fact did happen, obviously there's an investigation going on, which needs to happen. But, you know, those people are hardworking people as well. They go out there early in the morning trying to get the snow cleaned up. So we just need to see what happens with that investigation.
And now, Steve, you had a different experience. You live in Newark, where the mayor there had a different kind of response. And I know you're a Republican district leader, but talk to us about your
Well, the mayor very publicly came out on Twitter and offered his services to shovel people out who were stuck. But unfortunately, the vast majority of Newarkers were plowed under and had no way of getting out. So on my block, the number 34 bus was there for over 10 hours, stuck on my block. No emergency vehicles could get by, or nobody could come by if people were stuck in their homes. And this was happening all over the city. So the mass media across the country went with the story of, wow, Corey's doing such an excellent job of helping everyone out. But a councilman in my ward, too, Aníbal Ramos, said instead of, showcasing himself, he should have been out and in a war room and strategizing over what streets need to be plowed.
Let me ask all of you, ladies, weigh in on this. A couple of issues that emerged. For example, does it matter to you if the state or the city chief executive is in town? We learned that Mayor Bloomberg was not in town at the beginning. He got here. Governor Christie, famously was at Disney World. They're all defending their actions. Does that matter to you, Kyra or Amy, whether the person's in town?
You know what? I think an action plan needs to be in place, whether or not they're physically in town. And, you know, in White Plains, the cleanup was actually phenomenal. You know, they came by 2 or 3 times to plow our streets. It was very easy to drive through, but why that was not carried through to the inner boroughs, I'm not sure. But I definitely think that whether or not he's in town, there needs to be a plan.
All right, Amy, we'll wrap that up with you. A Jersey resident, were you satisfied? And also, how important is it that Governor Christie was or was not in town? Some parts of Jersey had a rough go of it.
Right. And I'm in Hoboken, and I thought that they handled it, but it came a little bit later than one would have expected. I think that it wasn't until Tuesday night that we really saw front loaders out on the streets and getting the snow out of the way. It's hard in an urban environment. I think if they are not in the environment or in the state, that they really just need to be engaged, and you need to see that kind of engagement if they're on the phone, if they're doing news conferences from wherever they are, so that you know they really care and they know what's going on and they're trying to fix it and put in place whatever that plan might be.
And even if you don't live in the city, you probably have an opinion about Mayor Bloomberg because, the mayor of New York is this, larger-than-life presence. Has it changed somewhat? A mayor's poll indicated that his approval rating, perhaps not surprisingly, took a big dip. That may come back again, but your opinion of this kind of former chief executive, this billionaire who built the business, Steve?
Well, it was an unfortunate situation, and I think that he came out too soon and said that things were going fantastically, and then he had to come back and say, you know what, no, it really isn't going well at all. And I think that hurt him a lot, too. But,
I agree with what he said, because he did come out too strong, and then had to change his kind of tune, and I thought that wasn't so great. But you can't really speak bad about the mayor of my home with my mom.
Oh, is that right?
They love Bloomberg, so
All right.
He seems a little bit out of touch. I have to agree.
And media performance. Media is sometimes accused of hyping the storm. How about the coverage afterwards? Satisfied with the media on this one, or what?
I think it was pretty accurate. I think, you know, a lot of unfortunate things happened with ambulances being stuck. I think they depicted it pretty dead on. That was the reality that we saw.
Okay.
Actually,
go ahead, Steve.
If I could chime in here, I think the media was excellent. There were people stuck out on the highway, and it wasn't the emergency medical people they were seeking out. It was actually the comfort of an anchor person in the studio helping them out to get it, you know, through the storm. And it wasn't, they didn't have any police vehicles or anything.
Why, thank you, Steve. You'll get more time in the next break. We're going to take a break. We're going to talk about this bullying Bill of Rights. We want to talk about this guy with the golden voice, what they think is going to happen with him. That's been in the news this week. We also want to talk about the new Congress. Stay with us. Back with our Facebook 4. New Jersey signed Governor Christie did some tough anti-bullying legislation. Now, Steve Sacco, you're a substitute teacher in Newark, and one of the things this legislation does is hold teachers and administrators a little bit more accountable, even for what happens outside the classroom. What are your thoughts?
I think it's well needed. I mean, the kids in our schools suffer enough from peer pressure and other things. They certainly don't need a bully around them, and if we can go to our administrator and get help and they, you know, do something about it, then that's great. All the more for it. And also there's going to be some training programs involved in that, and that's wonderful. We need that.
Folks, how important to expand the definition of bullying? This was prompted, of course, by the suicide of the Rutgers student who was said to be outed by a webcam in a relationship with a man. How important is it now to expand that definition for maybe when you were kids? What do you think, Amy?
I think it's really important because it doesn't just happen at school. It might happen in the schoolyard, outside the school, down the block, and really expanding the definition so that everyone's clear about what it is so they can report on it accurately and take action.
Okay, Kyra?
You know what, I think this is a step in the right direction, but I do think that we need to utilize our most important tool, which are parents, and, you know, holding teachers more accountable. You know, I'm not so sure if it's the most effective. I think combined with looping in parent associations is definitely needed.
Okay, that's interesting. So not absolving the family's responsibility, and should teachers be unfairly held accountable sometimes if they didn't catch it or see it, or what's the, you know, maybe a different opinion of when that person should have stepped in. So that'll unfold, I guess, as we move forward. Louis, I want you to kick off a discussion of something that happened in Great Neck Village where they just said, you know what, no smoking now on the sidewalks of this very popular street there, about a mile or so.
Yeah, it's outrageous. I mean, I'm a smoker.
Okay.
So, you know, I just think it's ridiculous. They're starting to ban all kinds of things. I mean, you know, they're starting to ban, you know, value meals at McDonald's with toys.
I mean, it's just another debrief.
But I mean, it's just starting to get really ridiculous. I mean, I think you should have, obviously you shouldn't smoke near people, but I should be allowed to have a cigarette on the beach or, you know, in a park, and definitely out on the street.
So you're feeling just encroached upon?
I'm mad about it.
Okay.
I'm very mad about it.
Anyone else?
This is my hometown, and I spent a lot of time on Middle Neck Road.
Okay.
And I can tell you it's a walking community. This is not going to the shopping mall and having a big parking lot somewhere where sidewalks and cars are away from people. There's not that much room there, so I can certainly understand that they'd be concerned about people smoking, and it is in close proximity to others, and I think it's a public health issue, so I can understand that.
Okay, now Steve, your thoughts?
I certainly don't feel that people should be smoking here and there, but you know, they have a certain amount of God-given American rights, so as long as I'm not getting secondhand smoke, I really don't have a problem with it.
Beaches, also public areas, or what?
I mean, this is getting ridiculous. It's a bit ridiculous.
Kyra?
I agree. I have to agree.
Overreaching?
I'm not a smoker, but, you know, where do you draw the line? We take them from restaurants, bars, lounges, we push them outside, and now we're telling them that they can't smoke outside. Where do you draw the line?
All right, got you. Story dominated the airways, certainly here on the Today Show at NBC, and this is a story of Ted Williams, who was living homeless in Ohio, discovered, it turns out he had a velvet voice. He was Brooklyn born and raised. Now he's been thrust into the spotlight and had job offers. Have you all watched this story? And what do you think? And do you have concerns for him moving forward? Because I did.
Yes,
Amy?
For sure. Well, I think it's great. I think it's hard to sustain yourself on the street. I'm sure he has a lot of perseverance. He's been telling his story. He's been pitching it to anyone who would listen, turned it to this YouTube sensation. You know, so obviously he has a lot going for him, but due to his past with drugs and alcohol, I do have concerns for him, and I think that he needs to be careful. He's getting a lot of attention and looks and sounds like a lot of money coming towards him, which is great, although it could go in the wrong direction, so something he definitely needs to be careful with.
You know what, I think everyone has a past, and I don't necessarily believe in luck. I think what we're seeing here is faith, and definitely a testament to perseverance. And it shows you what can happen if you continue to develop your talent, and even when things are down, rely on what you know and just keep plugging at it. And what we're seeing is the evolution of, I think, his destiny.
Wow. Okay, Luis?
I think it's a wonderful story. He has a great voice. I love the Kraft commercial.
Sure.
I'm going to go buy Kraft today just because of that commercial. But it just makes me wonder about the people that we walk by on the streets every day, the homeless. I haven't come from the Bay Area just recently. Just kind of makes me wonder, what they're going through and what hidden talents are out there on the streets.
Well, those who else haven't discovered, he was just lucky enough.
I think it's the inspirational story of the year. I mean, I'm just worried about that he has the right handlers around him, lawyers, to make sure his contracts are written up properly.
And just not slipping again. I mean, he's been very honest. And, to go from, like, the streets to the Today Show couch so suddenly. So you have to worry about that. Let me ask you about, and I know you saw earlier in the show we talked about municipal pension funds. And it affects you. Governor Christie's been outspoken about it. The mayor's been outspoken about it. A lot of city leaders now. Did you all firmly understand what happens here? I know none of you work in the public. Well, you're a substitute teacher there. But do you firmly get it? This is why we wanted to do that 101 and how they work and this future impact of them.
Yeah. Well, our mayor, Cory Booker, recently, David Giordano, who was the fire director, he recently retired in November. The day after he retired, he was hired back as an aide, so he would get a $30,000 increase in his pension. And Mayor Cory Booker had no problem with that. I think those kind of things need to be looked at. I think Governor Christie needs to have a commission look at things that are happening in the pension system and find out where we can, get rid of some of the waste that's happening.
Did you fully understand how they work? I mean, the suggestion is that public opinion is starting now to turn against some of the labor unions because of this, because of now this increasing burden.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think pensions are great, and anyone that was hired with that as part of their job, we need to meet those, obligations. But maybe, starting going forward, the new hires, like a lot of companies are doing, maybe looking at not giving pensions and going with the 401ks. Those people came out, with those contracts, and we have to meet them. But some changes need to happen,
Right. Even if it's going to affect the budget, and even if it means a greater deficit, I think we do need to meet that responsibility and the promise that was made. And I appreciate you doing that story because it did help me understand it a bit better. So thanks for that.
Okay, cool. That's what we do here on the Debrief. Debrief people. All right, let me wrap it up here with a national story, and that is the new Congress taking shape. No matter your political inclination, what are your expectations? There's a sense that the voter, regardless of parties, are just angry and want some action taken. Undoing Obamacare health care. Just give us your thoughts now as they move forward here at the new Congress in 2011. Luis, you can go first.
Well, I think it's, first of all, I think it's ridiculous already. Starting to try to get rid of health care, just wasting people's time. That's not why they were voted in. They were voted in, I think the main reason was economic issues and jobs. I don't think they were voted in to waste time and try to change health care. Obviously, we need to change health care in this country. I think it's a right step that was taken by Obamacare, and some improvements need to be made, and we just have to make those.
Car?
I think that what we're seeing is a lot of division, and what we need to do is focus more on the issues, listen more to the people, and what they're saying is not, that we want to see everyone at war. Okay. I think we need to see more unity within public officials.
Steve?
Well, I was hoping that we'd see a little bit more independents come along instead of just Republicans and Democrats. I think we need to, have them in the mix. And in regards to health care, really it doesn't affect me because I'm into alternative medicine, and that has never really been written into the bill. So I'm very upset with that, and I regularly go to alternative practitioners, get chelation therapy, vitamin C drips, and no one has talked about that alternative medicine.
You don't feel your issues are addressed at all? Okay.
Not at all.
Amy?
I'm hoping for less gridlock than we've had. I think we've really seen that there's been a lot of fighting and butting heads, and so with the balance of power shifting a little bit between Republicans and Democrats, I'm hoping to see some more action. And as far as the health care bill is concerned, I wouldn't want to see it undone. I think we certainly need something that helps people across the country. It's clear that we need more support in health care, more affordable health care, accessible health care for everyone. So I'd like to see everyone work together and build on what's already in place, as opposed to undoing and wasting a lot of time.
All right, we'll leave it on that unifying note with the Facebook 4, the Debriefs Facebook 4. Thank you. And remember, you could be sitting here next time, so join our fans page if you haven't already.